So as I start looking at this chart, and then I realize you can turn on any news channel you want, you can start talking to people that have different opinions, and all of a sudden there's all kinds of bad things out there going on. How can this market keep going up? And depending on which side of the fence you're on, and you can certainly be on both sides of the fence in some cases. Wow, this is a tough market. But let's just put all that behind us. And let's just simply follow the chart. Until somebody tells me different, everybody here in this room is a swing trader. Now, that doesn't mean you're not a swing trader and a long-term trader, but everybody here is a swing trader. And so what we're looking for is we're looking for swings, maybe to go from here up, here up. This is exactly the chart we're looking for. Swing up, pull back, swing up. That's exactly what we're looking for. And all the bad news, all the good news out there in the papers or the radio or social media and all that really doesn't affect us too much. It does if we allow it to, but it truly doesn't affect us very much. So as I look at this chart this morning, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this chart? Nothing. Nothing. Until it is nothing. And and what's prompting all this is a coaching class that I did part of it yesterday. And what prompted me on this is that they're just worried to death. Worried that we're not going to break out over this top here. Worried that we're going to start moving down. Okay, so first of all, don't be worried. What is the worst thing that's going to happen to you? The absolute worst thing is you're going to lose a little bit of money. That's all. You've made buku money, so you're going to lose a little. Life's not going to come to an end. Now, if you are not managing your trade, and this actually happens, and you're still holding long positions, and you're still holding long positions, and you're still holding, then yeah, you need to be worried if you haven't figured out you need to get out of this. Part of the problem is they were trying to time the market to the perfect 1 minute time. And while I do believe you can time the market, I do not believe you can time it to a minute. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to time this thing, anyway, they were just they took up drinking. I mean, crazy. So, sorry, I kind of got off track here. I was thinking about it, making some notes for our next class. The price is still above the T-line. The T-line is still trending. The Trendicator is still trending here. By the way, I did change this back. The Trendicator is still trending. Yes, we have a little high here. Yes, we have a double top. Double tops are just speed bumps. And how do we know that? Because it hasn't sold off yet. And if it sells off, remember, we will be notified. We will know. That's what the candlestick signals will tell us. In fact, this is where one of the areas that I think a candlestick signal shines, is it tells us what the other person is doing or what the group is doing. You can be sitting back and maybe not trading. In fact, maybe you've never traded ever. And somebody told you about a chart. They taught you about a chart. They taught you about candlestick signals. You could sit back and you could say, hey, we were trending until some sellers came in. Oh, look, buyers came back in. Sellers came in. Boy, that got a little worrisome. It did, a little concerning. But then the buyers started coming back in. Oh, we're still good. That's not hard to do. But what we can't do is, here I am going off in this left field again, doggone it. Fret about what might happen. Remember, we have the ability to close a position. Use that ability. Use that ability. All right, sorry to keep going off on this. T2122. T2122 is not there. Is right here. Is lost and wandering. T2122 in this area is just a lost and wandering chart. That's all it is. Lost and wandering. Chop, 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 chop. So, if you don't like T2122 in this area here, take the day off. Let it settle down. If you would rather have it back down here into an oversold area, take some time off, wait for that to happen. If you want it back up here, take some time off and wait for that to happen. While we're in here, we're in chop, 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 chop. And it will eat some traders alive. So be warned. Let's go back to this. There we go. All right, let's look at some charts here. So since I am bullish until I'm not, and believe me, I can be not bullish really, really quick, but until I'm not, let's take a look at RMO coming out of the rounded bottom breakout. Had a terrific little gap up here. Looks like we're opening up the higher end of yesterday's candle. I'm going to put a line right here. Now, when the market opens, we may adjust that line because there is a big difference between looking at pre-market candles and looking at daily non-pre-market candles. So right now, what I'm looking at is that low. Above that low, I will look at this bullishly, and this might be a trade up to our typical targets. Typical targets would be resistance, also the dotted deuce, and then in and up to the 200 looking at targets or, resistant levels where we might look at some profit taking like 730.40 up here. The low of this candle. Here's the dotted deuce right there, 615. Another one is plug. Now, I did buy plug, didn't I? Yes, I did. I bought plug yesterday near the close, and I bought plug because we're trending. I bought plug because of the chart pattern that it's forming. We have a ascending triangle here. That's an ascending triangle. We're up. We're trading tight. This red line here represents this this high in this area, no breakouts, and then a breakout and a test. And that's the reason I bought plug. Anything below 41, we'll call it 35 there, I would be unhappy with plug and I would have to be stopped out right in there. On a breakout, there is a chance that I add to plug because I left room to buy or add to plug on the way up. In CTY, another rounded bottom breakout. Here we gapped right up, 3 days ago, right up to the dotted deuce. This is something that happens all the time. And the dotted deuce is, it took me a long time to decide, well, that was the right one to use, that moving average right there. And it acts as resistance a crazy amount of times, and it acts as support a crazy amount of times. That's why this is one of the most, in a rounded bottom breakout, one of the most used profit-taking areas, I guess, right in here. It's always there. It's always stable. 90% of the time, you can look at it and then look to the left, and you can find some price action resistance. So what I'm going to do is look for this to stabilize. Two places that I would be interested in buying it is if it comes back and if it breaks out. Because I don't know where it's going to go from here the next 2 days. I can't tell you that in 2 days it's going to be up here or 2 days it's going to be down there. I can't tell you that. So we watch for price and we wait for those clues. So buying it right here at the open for somebody that maybe doesn't, spend their time in front of the computer, You just have to set your stop a little bit lower maybe, but that is just the price you pay. That is what it is, and you can't get around it. But me, I'm in front of my computer all day, so I can wait for that pullback or that breakout and that consolidation. So these are the two areas that I'll shop for an entry. AEM. I like the way AEM is still setting up. There's several of these little gold and some silver stocks that are setting up pretty nice in that rounded bottom breakout area. I realize this is not necessarily rounded bottom breakout, but it's the same type of setup. That's what I'm looking at. So here we go from a low to a high. Look at us get right into that dotted deuce there. We pull back, we consolidate. Now I'm just going to wait for my buy signal. My buy signal could be the 3/8 trap. It could also be a breakout of 57.70. Boeing. I'm digging Boeing now. Loved Boeing on the breakout. Loved it. But up here, no way am I going to want to buy it. That's just not in the toolkit to buy up here. The way that's in my toolkit, the way to buy this is to put it on a watch list, monitor it. If it started basing out to the right, then in this green box, then we might have seen a buy in there, but not buy it right away. The second thing is let it pull back, and if it pulls back and starts showing buyers, then that's the second area I'm going to look at for a possible buy. So Boeing is definitely on this watch list right now. And I'm not going to be against at all buying it on a breakout of 233. All this is a negotiation to get in the chart. That's all this is. The trade is not from here to here. This is just negotiation just to get into the race. CHPT, nice chart here. Had a couple people buy this yesterday here in the room. Got a little J hook setting up. If it can start moving above yesterday's candle, that would get me pretty excited. Anything below yesterday's candle, I'm going to be a little bit cautious on buying this just because I don't like these two candles over here. But it's doing a good job, and if it can show me it can break out, now we may be looking at a trade and maybe something up at $30 here to start with, and we can go further once we negotiate our way through this area here. So there's the trade ideas. Cool. Hey, everyone, thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. And I'll get back here in about 15 minutes, and we'll have some fun today. Thank you very much. Take care.